So, you have a tent and a rig, and you love overlanding. You have plans to do it big, on the trails and some super glamping? Want ideas, tips, news, and reviews? A podcast that's first rate and here just for you? You don't have to think about it. Join us and be about it. Something interesting? We want to hear about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Welcome to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints podcast.
Sponsored by MIDLAND Communication for Every Adventure, the industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years. Sponsored by MYMEDIC. Sponsored by TEMBO TUSK.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
All right, Mike, I'm glad to have you back. For those of you who didn't watch last week, this is Mike Ladden from Drive the Globe, who will be a reoccurring host of this podcast, giving his insights and his experiences, which are a lot. Welcome back, Mike.
Thank you, Phil. I am coming here live from Zoom, I guess, and I'm currently in Montrose, Colorado. Sort of recovering actually from last week's Overland Expo. So
yeah, it was a busy week, actually a busy couple of weeks for us, right? So with that, that's a real good segue into let's cover the last couple of weeks. How about that? Yeah. We went to Overland Expo, right? Overland Expo West. Well, we met up in Mexican Hat for my little rendezvous, and we did our very first podcast together, which got a great response from. And regardless of a response or not, I enjoyed doing. I loved the location. I loved who I was doing it with. So just want to put that out in the air.
Super great location. I really enjoy doing it up there too. The scenery down there in southern Utah is fantastic. It was the perfect intro, pre-game, if you will, going into Overland East, because, as everybody out there probably knows, the Overland Expo is just such an enormous event at this point. It was great to sort of go to Mexican Hat and get a couple days of, I don't know if we could say rest and relaxation, because we had lots of great conversations around the campfire late at night, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
And just briefly before we leave that, I just we were remote, but this was not an unachievable place to get to. And I just wanted to let people know that we were very close to Gooseneck State Park. If you don't want to find a campsite, there are formal campsites that are not that far away. And the route we took was through the Moki Dugway Scenic Byway, which is a beautiful drive. It's a switchback and the views are excellent. And we didn't stay at Muley Point, but we were at Muley Point. We were just not at formal campsites. So if people are interested in what they saw last week on the podcast, one, it's achievable, and it's a known place. You do have to do a little research to find our particular campsite, but it's not that hard.
Right. Correct.
Also, I want to speak a little bit more about the area, because we're going to talk about Overland Expo, and it's already over. So now anybody interested would be going next year, and maybe they want to come through this area. And I just want them to know that it's not just that camping site. There are a lot of things in that area. You don't have to choose that. You could decide to stay where Monument Valley is, if you like. There are many different monuments. I think it's near Four Corners Monument.
Well, Valley of the Gods. You got
Valley of the Gods,
Mexican Hat.
Canyonlands. You're a couple of hours drive from Moab. So the whole region is worth the trip. With that, I want to get right into Overland Expo with you. Well, let's start the day before, which it's part of Overland Expo, but it's the day before the actual event. You can arrive on Wednesday in downtown Flagstaff for their gear and beers. Is that
I believe it's called Gear and Beer? Yep.
Gear and Beer. And we decided to attend that. And I'm very glad we went. It turned out to be fun.
It was fun. It supported the local downtown businesses. And we actually met a bunch of people down there. Yeah, it was good. I think it's great interaction between the community and Overland Expo that takes place, every year in that area. So, I mean, I think it was a positive thing.
Yep. I met some people through you at downtown, the Wanderbox crew.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
Yeah.
Love those guys. I'm confident I'll see them somewhere sometime down the road, and I'm looking forward to that. So we did the beers and gears. It was basically a big party in the street. We also ate at one of the weirdest restaurants I've ever gone to in my life.
I would second that, because it's the first time we've ever done.
What did we do? Go through an alley, through a mall, through a lingerie store to get to the restaurant or something?
Yeah,
like
it was kind of like from the top, you went in, you went down the stairs. It was like going through a department store. It was like,
yeah, I wish I could.
Like eating in the back of Nordstrom's.
Yeah. I wish I could remember the name of the place, because the food was okay.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
And we actually had plans of where we were going to camp that night, but we didn't need those. And you said we probably wouldn't need them. We got invited to a couple of different things, but we chose to hang out with Wanderbox and some other people. And we ended up having a party all night in the forest.
Yeah, in the forest down south of Flagstaff there.
Yeah. Which leads us to the next day, which is Thursday. What do you think about the new setup going to the separate location? Because me personally, I was kind of like, why are they sending us here? But it worked out very smoothly. So they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I think from past experience, the Expo has struggled with moving people in. So Thursday is move-in day, right? And they've struggled with getting such a large volume of people into an event site. Everywhere from, the pedestrian kind of people that come in for the day on the buses was a disaster in past years. And even for folks like us that were coming in under instructor or media passes, it was challenging. So they put us off site to check in at the DoubleTree, which, by the way, Phil, we forgot to get cookies. Like, we went to the DoubleTree. Shouldn't we have gotten the chocolate chip cookies?
I didn't miss them because of the good cookies that we ate later.
That's true. But anyways, it was offsite. And my initial impression of that was, I'm like, I didn't think that was going to work. It was a little bit of a rigmarole, but it's turned out it was clearly it worked, because it went super
We were
smooth.
literally in and out in minutes. We had nothing to do for hours, remember?
Oh, yep.
So the next thing I noticed was that the next day, when we finally got there, when the buses were running, they said that the buses were going to be running, and they were running like very regular. They were regular and they were early.
Yeah. Where I was camped, we were camped there by the showcase vehicle section, which was right by the entrance. Is where the bus drop off came, and the buses were landing every. And 5 minutes or less, and one after another, and they started right up at no break. It was 8 a.m. and people were pouring in.
Incidentally, I got some of the stats back, and it was the largest Friday attendance.
Yeah.
which was very obvious from the naked eye, in my opinion. We talked about that. Usually Friday is a busy day, but it seems like it's felt like a Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah. And the total attendance that they released yesterday, I think that was 28,000 for the weekend. So it was a strong showing for sure.
Yes. Yes. So this thing is absolutely growing every year. The food, I was going to talk about food.
Well, I would hope so, because if you weren't, I was going to bring it up.
Let's talk about the vendors' food first.
Yeah.
Excellent. They had a variety of food. There were choices. There were lots of choices, and there was food in different areas. So you even though you might be in a line, you didn't feel compact.
I didn't count, but there were a lot of food trucks circled around, both by I call it the central point where the classrooms are, where the parties were at nighttime, the happy hour. And then there was food trucks that were kind of more centralized, that were closer to where I was parked, or the other side of the vendor area. So they were spread out in different places. And yeah, I mean, some at different times had lines at them, but you could always, if you needed to eat and you needed to get to your next class or something, you definitely could. So, and that's what I liked about it.
And I want the audience to be clear on something, because the word food truck can be a misnomer for some people. I ate Thai food, I ate barbecue, I ate seafood. So don't think just hamburgers and fries, which they did have. They had a multitude of different ethnic foods, and everything I ate from a vendor was good.
Yep.
And I would not say that if it was not.
No, Thai, I went back to a couple times. The Thai one was really good.
Yes.
There was a couple barbecue, there was pizza, there was I don't know, there was all sorts of different options. So
good pizza.
Mexican, good pizza. Yep.
Because they always got pizza, but it's not always good pizza, because we had some bad pizza.
Oh yes, we had bad pizza. Oh, Mexican hat. Let's stay out of that. Was worse than the worst frozen pizza I've ever
had. We had an opportunity to walk through the camping area, the VIP and the VIP Overland Experience camping, which is basically an upgrade somewhat from the rustic camping. And I was actually impressed. I would not have had any issue camping there. Nope. Seems like there was a lot more space. And they had their own little like happy hour area or lounge area. So I really like the upgrades that they made for the camping.
And for those of you that are looking to potentially go next season, I would highly recommend getting the VIP pass or getting the Overland Experience pass for the weekend. The location of that, like Phil said, was much better, much closer. Really nice in there. They had, by the way, they had hot shower. They had the hot shower, I call them the wedding wagon trucks. And yeah, it even smelled good in that forest. Every time we walked in
there.
I
agree.
Yeah.
What was that? Pine? Is that a pine forest or a spruce forest? I think it's a pine forest.
Yeah, pine. Yeah.
What did you think about the vendor area? We walked through the vendor area extensively on Friday. What did you think about the vendor area?
Is this the part where Mike goes off the rails on the podcast and says what he thinks?
You're allowed to go any direction you like, Mike. The reason why I asked you is there were new products, but the thing that stuck out to me was there was a lot of versions of the same products than other years.
Yeah.
There were more, let's say, tents or lockers or whatever. It was more of the same as well as new products. And
I think there were 400 plus 410, 420 vendors, something like that.
There was definitely more than 400. I'm confident of that.
Yeah.
So where I was leading with that is, I think that's good for people who are putting together their rigs to have so much competition out there. So right now, I feel like it's a good time for innovation. It's a good time for pricing. The only thing is availability, because everyone I talk to still is having supply issues, no matter how good their product is, especially if it's American made. Right. Having a lot of issues with supply chain. But other than that, the opportunities for people who are looking for this gear, this is an opportune time.
If you want to build out a rig or find gear for your truck or for camping or for traveling, there's probably no better place to go.
Not at all.
I mean, the options are endless. You know, I mean, I can give you the negative side of it later or whatever, but if you are looking to, whatever that is, purchase a rooftop tent or find some, you know, track boards or cooking gear or bags or, you know, things to, you know, load supplies in or whatever it is in your overland world, you're not going to find that many things in one place anywhere.
Absolutely. In the words of Overland Expo, there's no other event that offers the scope of classes taught and vendors shown. Correct. And I agree with that statement.
Yep.
Next thing I want to talk about is happy hour, which goes on each evening. This is something I feel like everyone should experience at least one evening if they're going to attend the event. The lines went extremely fast. There was no one complaining about the line. The line was absolutely long, but once you got in line, minutes later, you were getting a beverage. So I want to put that out there. 2, they also had, if you remember, food right there in the happy hour. So you didn't have to leave out from happy hour to get something to eat after you drank.
Yeah, numerous food trucks within the gated alcohol restricted area. Yeah. And
I also noticed that the tent for the happy hour was far bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Which is a plus. It's also a good place to be an oasis during the day away from the sun.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to mention all kind of little details because people ask me.
Yep. Yeah, it's plus. I mean, the happy hour, I would recommend from just the perspective of, like you said, the line, maybe a little bit long. I hate waiting in line. That's just my thing. It did move fast, I would agree. But it's a great place to meet all sorts of people while you're standing in line, you know, going opposite ways. They already got their beverage. They're going, you know, whatever. So while you're standing there, you're sort of, it's a meet and greet. And that's probably, I mean, for me, that's the number one thing about Overland Expo is to run into people that, you know, meet new people and, you know, recognize, maybe you don't even know them. You just recognize them from Instagram or wherever you recognize them from. But that's a good place to bring them all together every day.
Right. And maybe you've noticed this too. People change at happy hour. They're kind of more social than they are during the actual event at happy hour. People seem like they're decompressing.
For many of us, we've spent the entire day either talking or being an instructor, like yourself, going around and doing filming, doing interviews. As an attendee, you're going to classes, you're looking at products, you're walking up and down. I mean, I think by 5 o'clock, everybody's like, okay, I need to let my hair down a little bit, you know?
Yes, I agree.
It's nice.
So I always look forward to the happy hour because without fail, I've always met someone new, someone who is still in my life in some form or fashion. I've always overheard a conversation and learned something, and I've always had fun. So if you go to this thing, do not just go to the vendor area. Do not just have your schedule of classes and go to your class. At least one day, go to happy hour. It'll benefit you.
Yep. That would be my advice too. Mix it up. I know years past, way back 10 years ago, I signed up for such a course load of going to, just hopping around, going to class after class after class. All great, but do yourself a favor and mix it up. Do a little class, a little vendor, a little social, a little if you're not doing the off-road section, go and watch it a little bit. Take a walk, go through the motorcycle corral. A lot of different people out there, a lot of interesting things to see. So don't get overly committed to any one thing. I mean, because it's just so big,
And since you mentioned the motorcycle corral, because we don't give enough to the two-wheel part of the community. And I just want people to know, if they're interested in, maybe they've watched films of people on journeys on their vehicle, on their two-wheel journeys, but you don't know how to ride, they'll teach you how to ride at Overland Expo.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to mention that.
And if you're an expert rider, or you're really into adventure bikes and going out and exploring on two wheels, Overland Expo is the best place for that too. I mean, I was amazed at the level of vendors that in the motorcycle vendor section, and the amount
biggest I think ever.
Biggest I've ever seen. Yeah. Saturday night they had their motorcycle VIP party, a separate dinner that you can buy tickets to. There was a lot of two-wheeled, and being one myself, I spent the weekend. I used my motorcycle a couple times to go to the auto parts store for some friends that were having some truck difficulties. So that was the extent of my two-wheel adventure for the weekend. But yeah, if you're a motorcycle person, Overland Expo is just as good for two wheels as it is four.
Absolutely. And some of the biggest rock stars in that segment are there.
Yeah, in some ways, I think there were bigger rock stars from the two-wheel community than the four-wheel community. Almost.
I agree.
Yeah, a lot of them.
That's true. I agree with that. So let's stay with the evening. You can go to happy hour. I suggest you go to happy hour. But if that's not your thing, fine. But I also suggest you go to the film festival.
Yep.
This year, we were running around like crazy. So I didn't get to go to any of the film festivals. So I can't speak about the films this year. Yeah. I'm actually, that's a loss for me, because some of the best cinematography that you'll ever see, some of the best storytelling that you'll ever see, and I'm including movies that you've watched at a theater. We have some very talented nomadic people out there.
Yeah.
And if you are looking for inspiration, please go to the film festival portion of this. Have you ever watched anything at these film festivals? Have you ever gone?
I have. I didn't have the opportunity to this year either, but in the past years, yes, I've done some fantastic stuff. Even some of the slideshow presentations that you'll get from people's trips that they've done in different parts of the world. And but the film thing is, like Phil said, is top quality. So if that's your thing, try to get in there and see that as well. I picked up I heard some of it. I didn't go to it. I was on a couple panels, and there was some chatter. And in fact, somebody on one of my panels had done was part of the film thing. And I
heard some cheering.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I like about you, Mike, one thing we have in common, we're social animals. We seek out the social elements of things to enjoy our time. And often when we're talking about it, we're always talking about us and what we get out of it and the fun and things like that. But another element of social is being charitable, is giving, and your satisfaction being in that person received. And one of the notable things about going to Expo is each evening they have charities, charities that you can advance buy tickets to or send money into, and then they accept during the actual event. So if your social
The raffle
includes
part.
giving, there are charitable organizations being given to by the event. So your money isn't just going to nothing.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And that also, not only the charity side of it, that your money is also going to the education component, which teaches people to be respectful of of travel and the wilderness, and respecting locations and different parts that they visit, and not to impact the environment. So there's a lot of this coming together, if you will.
I agree.
A lot of components to it.
I agree. So the last thing I want to talk about, well, not the last thing, but the next thing is about the education.
Yeah.
Which you have something to do with. We talked about it a lot on the last podcast, but I don't feel like we could talk about it too much. Now, according to the official stats, they had over 175 different classes and 300 hours of training available, which is just crazy. So there's no way that you can take every class.
No.
It's that many. I want an instructor to explain why you should be taking classes at Overland Expo.
Well, from my perspective, it's the best and quickest way to find out real live information about what you're seeking. So I'll give you an example. I did a thing with a woman. It's two of us had done a panel. I call it a panel. There's two of us talking about Baja. So these are people that are interested in going down to Baja, Mexico in the near future. And we had just come back. Both of us had to come back from spending time down there all winter. And the questions that come in are like legit questions. So if you're in the audience and somebody asks, is it safe to go to Baja? Well, we can give you that answer from our perspective of being there, but all these other people that are here are benefiting from hearing that answer. And, so the education component is important. It puts, in some ways, using that as an example, it takes away some of the myths that you've heard, like, oh, I can't go down to Baja, I'm going to get my head chopped off or whatever that is. But the education thing is so important, because if you're worried about solo travel, or what recovery gear you should have, or how difficult it is to get my truck through the Western African countries, how do I get a carnet for my vehicle, or you name it, the topics are so wide reaching, so you can really plug yourself into what you are interested in or what you're about to do. So it's enormously important.
You mentioned Baja and it triggered something in me. I want to also give another side of this training thing. I've gone to other events that are supposed to be like an expo or a rally, and they have trainings. And they may have somebody that's talking about Alaska, or they'll be talking about Baja, but they'll be talking about a trip they took 10 years ago. And they've been going around to these little events for 10 years, selling books and talking about something they did 10 years ago. Whereas typically at Overland Expo, the person talking to you either just returned from the trip like weeks or months ago, or they're still on the trip and they've flown in to report, and then they're going to go back and finish their trip. So the information is timely. It's the latest info, which is a big deal when you're crossing borders.
Yep.
So,
and
there's no comparison.
Some top rate people to do the instruction. It's not just, most of the time, having not only instructed things, but gone to other people's classes, these people know what they're talking about. They're not getting on, They're not just sort of, yeah, kind of, I might have went there, like Phil said, I might have went there 10 years ago and I kind of breezed through there, but I must be an expert on this now. It's that isn't the case. So and then the other thing, what I really like about the way Overland Expo in particular does it is that not only are they getting the right people to do the classes, almost everybody that I've ever met there, all the instructors are very accessible. So meaning that the class comes to an end, and I usually, look at my schedule. I know if it's a 50-minute, they're all 50-minute classes. If it's 50 minutes, I block 2 hours out of that because I know I'm going to be talking to people after the class room session ends for another hour, probably, on a personal level, or they stop
witnessed
by.
that.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people came by, where my truck was parked to ask me stuff that they had seen earlier that I had been involved with. So that the team of people that Overland Expo brings in are very accessible. They're not just coming in and dipping out and that's it. Last you ever hear of them. And a lot of them have been doing it for many years too.
And I've taken these classes, I've taken the workshops and all of that. I like the kind of information they give. Like I said, I've gone other places and taken classes, and it sounds like they're reading out a Fodor's book or something, or Alaska Mile Post or something. You know what I mean?
Yes,
just giving me these general facts. And when I've gone to the same kind of classes at Expo, I mean, the people are giving me like small little things, but things that will actually make a difference in my trip.
Yeah. One of the changes, just while you're on the subject about the classes, because they made a different type of class this year, which they called, I'm not even sure what they called it. It was under these little bivvies. So these little tents, and it was like casual chairs and places to plug your phone in and charge and sort of like just relax. It was very informal with less. Most of the ones I saw and the ones I was involved in, it had less. It was less of a panel. In past years, we had panels where we had discussing a particular topic. You had 8 of us, up in front of the room along a table. This was this year they introduced this concept where it was kind of like just come and sit around a group and talk ideas, and I think that was very effective. So I'm hoping they continue doing that in the future. That was new this year.
I agree, and it makes the listeners more relaxed, and being more relaxed, you absorb better, and you'll come up with better questions.
Yeah. More questions, yeah.
Right.
They're less shy, kind of. It was more informal. Yep.
All right. Enough of the school stuff. I want to get to the party. Do you know what party I'm talking about, Mike?
I do, because Phil and I are very serious people, and we get out there and we interact, and we did some filming, and we taught, and we went to classes, but then we like to bring in the nighttime component, the place to be at Overland Expo, the fun. Which by the way goes right back to like drawing people together to meet them, to share ideas and stories, and no better way than doing that is to host a party around a TEMBO TUSK scuttle and invite 50 people and 200 come, and right. And every year we've been growing this thing, so we call it now I don't know what the name of the party is.
The party. The party.
Yeah.
It's the party, right? If I'm exaggerating, call me out. It's the party every year, every event.
That's right.
So for those who weren't fortunate enough to be there, I think we had one of the greatest LED light shows ever at one of these type of events. Thanks to the Wanderbox. Who
not only light show, there was a laser light show and a concert, if you will, because they had the speakers, and we had the music, we had the people, we had the food,
we had delicious food, we had all types of food. What do we have? Chicken tacos, steak tacos,
shrimp. We had
shrimp, refried beans.
I know at one point I knew we were going, downhill, and then it went uphill because we go, oh no, we ran out of what do you call them? The tortillas. We're like, oh no, we don't have any more tortillas. And somebody said that. And next thing you know, there were 8 different groups came over and we had to stack this all. I was like, that's more tortillas than we started with.
And Mike, like I told you then, you've thrown a big party. You've thrown the party when you've already got a huge party going, right? But then there's little groups of satellite groups of people hanging around your party. They don't know you, but they want to be there. So we had like satellite parties around our party. And I thought that was just cool. And even if people went to other parties, because we had a bunch of people say, yeah, I'm not going to mention the names of the other parties, but we had a bunch of people say, yeah, we just left there and we just left there and we just left there. So even if they didn't start the party with us, everybody pretty much ended the party with us.
Yep. It was, if you're going to the next expo, make sure you come and find wherever the big orange truck might be located. And that'll be the home of the next party.
And Jerry showed up to the party. It's traditional that all the food is cooked on a scuttle. So you would have thought that he would have been to one of these sooner, but this was the first one.
Yeah, Jerry from TEMBO TUSK showed up. And not only did he show up, but he showed up with the whole TEMBO TUSK gang in their onesies. So
right. They were dressed like elephants.
They were dressed like elephants. It was, yeah. I don't even know. We can't even tell you all the details. What I can tell you, also know it's a good party when the next morning you got to take the trash can of all of the beverage bottles and cans and whatnot and dispose of them correctly. And I almost needed a tractor.
With that said, we got to thank everybody who helped us. Bringing tables and chairs. People helped clean. People helped cook. It amazed me how so many people were invested in the success for our party. And I appreciate it. Shout out to Overland Gear for all the help that they gave us. Overland Gear Guy to be
Overland Gear Guy. They were hilarious.
Yeah.
In fact, they did most of the cooking. Yep.
So
shout out to everybody at camp for sure. Everybody contributed, both cooking and food and beverages and everything else. So yeah, it was fun.
So I had to talk about the party. I had to bring that up because we talk so much about the social aspects of things. So I just want everybody to know we're practicing what we preach.
That's right. That's right.
Which brings me to, why do I focus so much on that? Well, we haven't really gotten into a conversation about it yet, but from going to the event this year, I have a lot of plans that I have in the future coming up that come from socializing at the event. I have people that I plan on meeting in different places, at different events, doing different things. And it all stems from just hanging out and socializing at the expo. So
you guys can't see it right now, but I'm at a friend's in Montrose, Colorado, and outside my window are a number of overland rigs, and 2 of which I met at Overland Expo. So that's exactly how that works.
Okay, so I have the camera is facing here. I'm looking at you over here in the screen, and I have a little note above my camera because I wanted to remind myself of this. And it says, convincing Mike to attend Overland Expo Pacific Northwest. So that's what this part of the podcast is about to be about, is convincing Michael from Drive the Globe to attend Overland Expo Pacific Northwest.
Now, Phil, do we get to have our Saturday night party?
Oh, That's how if you don't show up, that means you didn't show up to the party. It's going to be a party. You better show up.
This is tough now. This is getting tough.
Okay. So for those out there listening who don't know when it's going to be July 8th at the beautiful Deschutes County Expo Center, which is about 20 minutes away from the center of Bend, Oregon. And if you don't know anything about Bend, Oregon, this is like an epicenter of outdoor activities in the Pacific Northwest. People come from all around the world to Bend, Oregon, to start their outdoor adventures, to start the beginning of their travel. There are a couple of very popular breweries in downtown Bend and a coffee shop that are famous among international overland travelers, that when they're traveling through Oregon, they stop there. So I just wanted to mention that. And if you don't know anything about the actual place it's going to be at, it's over 340 acres. It's more than big enough to accommodate an Overland Expo and do it right. And I also want to mention that I don't care where you're coming from, you can create a beautiful trip to Bend, Oregon. I don't care where you live. If you doubt me, send me a DM and I'll give you a travel itinerary. So, do I need to keep going? Are you coming?
Interesting fact. Never have been to Oregon. There's only
that just blows my mind.
4 states in the United States I've never been to: Oregon and Washington.
Been all over the world, ain't been to Oregon.
Nope. So that in itself should get me there. So that's what I'm leaning towards that. Yes, I'm definitely
okay. Now you know that's my area. I plan on showing out.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss this one.
Worth it. That's going to be worth it just to go for that.
And according to what they say, that they're going to have almost as many vendors, almost as many instructors and stuff going on. So this isn't going to be like a step down to go to the Pacific Northwest. And I want to give you some inside information living in the area. I know most of the vendors. I know most of the big social media content creators that live in this area. I know everybody. And everybody is so, we have chips on our shoulders about not getting attention in this area, and everybody plans on doing something big. So I can't guarantee what's going to happen at Overland Expo 2, but the first one is going to be amazing. I promise you.
And I think that's actually an advantage of this. And in some cases, sometimes first-year events are not. But I think there's been so much discussion about this one. And obviously, it's not a first-time event for the organization, but it's a first time at that location. And I think that location has been, it's a huge amount of pent-up demand over the years. So I think that this is, I totally agree with Phil that this is going to be a big one. It's probably going to be their biggest new event launch that they've ever had, meaning that for a first year, I think that the success at that one is going to be infinitely higher than their first year at any of the other locations. So
I absolutely agree.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree.
I can definitely see that. And I've talked to so many people that are going. In fact, Phil is not the only guy out there that's trying to convince me to go. I'm getting that from all sides.
Be there or be square.
That's right.
The other one I want you to go to is called the Northwest Overland Rally in my home state, which is Washington. It's in Plain, Washington, which is about 2.5 hours from me. Now, this is a smaller event. So you've never been to that one either, right?
I have not. I've never been to Washington.
So here's the thing. I know how much you enjoyed Vermont Overland Rally. If you loved that one, you're going to love this one.
I prefer, just as a selfish personal thing, I prefer the smaller, more intimate events anyways. Just because it's my motivation of going is always talking to people. So, I mean, I find it a little bit easier to do it there, but
if the bigger events are claustrophobic to you, if you're only wanting to just hang out a little bit, if you're looking for a fun local time, there's nothing on this side of the map. There's nothing to compete with it. I'm not going to mention the other names of other events, but if you're watching this and you're saying, well, what about, yeah, that one too? It doesn't compare. Whatever one you bring up, it doesn't compare. The only one I can think of that's on the same level is the Vermont Overland Rally. And you said it has a new name now?
Now called the Pilgrimage. Yeah.
The Pilgrimage.
I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but that's the East Coast equivalent, I think, of what we're talking about.
So how are you liking Colorado?
Love it. I love it. I mean, I've been to Colorado a number of times. I've not spent a ton of time here on the western side. I did do a couple off-road trips in my past on the western side, but not too much recently. So this is different. It's a little cold the last couple of days here for me, from my warm-blooded Baja and Arizona, New Mexico areas. And we hope to head out. We're heading out as a group in the next couple of days. I think on Wednesday, we're going to go over to Utah to a sort of an undisclosed, sort of very remote location to just hang out for a couple of days and get some good video and pictures maybe, and see what happens.
So it sounds like even if you are heading back east, you're not in a rush to get back east.
No, I definitely going to commit to doing that in over the next week. I'll be in Utah. I have been invited to go to another gathering that's up in Wyoming, in the Wind River area of Wyoming, which I am not familiar.
Unless you're talking about something private, I got an invitation to that too.
No, it's not private. No,
it's the Wind River.
Wind River Rally,
yeah,
I believe it's called. Yeah, it's sort of a van life overland event. It's run by Josiah, a guy that I know pretty well. I met down in Baja actually, and I had come from before Overland Expo. I had gone to an event down in Bisbee, Arizona that he put on. That was awesome.
On Instagram, is he Isaiah HQ or something like that?
Josiah Q, and okay. He runs the Journal of Lost Time, so you can follow them on Instagram, Journal of Lost Time.
We just started following each other, yep. And we actually were speaking in the DMs, and I didn't know who he was, and now it's coming full circle.
So I hung out with him in Baja, and then went to meet him in Bisbee, Arizona. And he's actually I believe right now he's actually down in Argentina. He has bought some property down in Argentina, down Patagonia area. But he's running those events, and I like his events because they're very informal, casual, great group of people come in that are representing many different areas of what I would call the overland segment. So I do like that.
What are the dates for that?
Yeah, I don't know. June. It's in June. I'd have to look. I'm not positive.
Okay. Yeah, I totally, being honest, I had totally dismissed it because I hadn't heard of it, but now I have a different thought process about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you know what's next after going to Utah, or that's as far as you figured it out?
As far as I figured it out. So my big thing right now is deciding to stay, whether I'm going to stay out west for the summer or I'm going to go east. My original plan was to be in the Northeast between July and October for 3 months there. And as everybody knows, the price of fuel and everything else, and knowing that I have to be back out west to head back down to Mexico in the fall is weighing on my mind. So I've been thinking about options. There's lots to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it in the East. I love it in the West. So it's, it's good to try to figure it's what's on my mind right now.
So that made me think of a question for you with this gas. The gas is crazy.
It's crazy.
In Montana, when I was in Montana a few days ago, I paid $5.25 a gallon
And typically Montana has been low usually in the past. And I said the lowest fuel prices right now that I've seen, and obviously I've only been out west here, but talking to people around the country, is right here in Colorado.
Mhm.
$5.20 a gallon for diesel here, which is 40 or 50 cents less than I was paying in Arizona or New Mexico for sure. So yeah, the fuel is really a consideration. But I mean, not to get way off tangent, but the fuel, as everybody out there knows, is not just about driving. It's about when you go to the grocery store and you buy a steak or a hamburger or chicken or eggs or toothpaste for that matter, anything that gets moved around by a truck, which is diesel based, or goes on a train, which is also diesel based. So the shipping is interesting. And that, that's, I think we've talked about that. And the other thing was, why am I sitting here today and not in South America somewhere? It goes back to, it is rooted around largely fuel and shipping, and that's been a challenge for nomadic people, definitely, whether you're nomadically moving around in a geographic area in the United States or you're trying to get around the world. It's affecting things.
And that's exactly where I was headed. I wanted to ask you, have you heard from any of your friends, maybe has the cost of fuel changed their plans significantly? I know a lot of people, maybe they stay in certain places longer. Have you heard a story yet from someone where it's significantly altered their trip?
Yes, even more significantly than possibly altering the actual travel part. I've heard of at least 2 people that I know very well that are actually changing or in the process of changing the vehicle that they go around in because of the fuel. Obviously a truck like mine, a larger overland rig or something that uses more fuel is going to be less friendly in these times. So yeah, I do know people that are looking at alternative options for better fuel mileage vehicles. And I've heard a couple of people also changing travel plans. Definitely.
Yeah. What made me want to ask that is because I use one of those fuel calculators for my big trips. And for my next big trip, I keep inputting the new highest price. And there's been $1,000 increase in my fuel cost for this trip.
Yeah.
That's
significant.
Yes.
Yeah. Particularly
I could do a lot with that. A lot.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? It starts coming down to choices between doing something and paying for fuel. And that is an interesting perspective. So I don't know where that's going to end, or what's going to happen. And it isn't just. So here's the interesting thing. It's depending on what kind of travels you're doing. It depends on. Mexico is a good example of this. The fuel prices there have actually dropped slightly, and they're running much, much lower than the United States. So, and that may be affected. So somebody may decide, well, I'm not going to do that trip across Canada this summer, or going into the fall. I was going to go, on a Trans Labrador Newfoundland trip. I'm going to go to Baja now. Well, yeah, I could see that happening because the price of fuel in Canada compared to the price of fuel in Mexico is night and day. Mm-hmm. So there may be decisions like that. And, I'm not a fan of that. And I don't know that I would even switch a vehicle based on that, because as we know, everything's kind of fickle, right? So, we wait 20 minutes and the price of fuel might be $1 a gallon. Who knows?
Well, this is the first year where we've had spikes in gas prices before. I remember the jump from $2 to like $3.50. And this is the first one where I'm really feeling it.
Yep.
This is the first time I'm really feeling it.
And I would agree for 2 reasons. One, really feeling it because it's significant and it's affecting all the commodities.
Everything.
But 2, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, but I also feel like this problem is not a blip and is not going away that quickly. And I'm concerned. In fact, I'm greatly concerned that it's going to get worse. So,
well, we're thinking the same.
yeah, I get a different feeling. I've seen these before, the blips and things and up and down. We complain it's the summertime, we got to drive somewhere, but that's more than that.
I'm thinking that even if Canadian, let's just say North America, Mexico, United States, Canada, even if we get our prices down, I'm not so sure about internationally, where it's never really been down.
No, and it's way higher. Like in Europe right now, it is staggeringly expensive. So yeah.
I'm thinking that as far as significant changes in travel, I think a lot of international plans are going to just go to the wayside because it's going to just not be feasible.
Mm-hmm. And the price of airfare because of the fuel is also going up pretty rapidly right now. So if you were planning on shipping a truck and driving to something, that was bad. But now flying there is also bad. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting couple years, I think. And this is like post-pandemic, but in some ways it's like, it could be worse. I mean, this could turn into a worse issue than we had even before.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the containers, like you're talking about shipping, I mean, if I was a shipping company and I had the choice between shipping your vehicle and shipping a container full of iPads, I'm shipping the iPads. It's far more profitable to me. So,
and the problem is that that market is upside down right now because of a lot of people don't understand how the shipping works. So boats go two directions. They come in and then they leave and they go back. When you have an imbalance of trade, which is really what set a lot of this off, where China was buying a lot of our metal, scrap metal and stuff, and the containers were coming over here with iPads in them and then going back with metal in them. Well, now they're not purchasing this right now. So what's occurring is that we can't send the boat back empty. It doesn't work. That doesn't float the same way. It would sink. So we got a stockpile of containers sitting up in off the California and wherever else. And now we have a reduction of containers. So now that we want those iPads, we've got no boats over on the other side of the world to bring the iPads to us because there's the containers are sitting over here empty. That's part of it. And then like where it affected me is pulling actual ships off of routes to try to fix the problem somewhere else. And now I want to ship my truck from South America to Africa. Well, that route effectively doesn't even exist anymore.
Right.
Because the boat is no longer doing the route. The boat is going between Singapore and LA now. So that's causing, and then there's a backlog of issues that causes. So, in the price of things, and that's the other problem. Getting products is because what's happening is that people are bidding on the way that containers work is that you book containers in advance, you pay an X fee, it's all settled, you fill your container up, gets on the boat, gets loaded. Well, the price of fuel is going up so quickly and so drastically that the shipping company is struggling with this because they when they contract the price and then when it actually goes, all of a sudden they're losing money because the price of fuel went up so high. So they're pre-bidding out at higher prices, which is driving the market. It's going all over the place. There's a lot of challenges to the shipping and resupply and shortages of stuff. It's way more complicated than people. I mean, everybody wants to just go, it had to do with COVID.
And
not a lot.
You were mentioning the back and forth of the cargo boxes. Another angle or aspect of that is I know someone personally who has quadrupled their income. They're a truck driver. They quit their job that they had been working for years. They leased a truck, and now they're making money pulling these empty crates because they're so wanted that he's making money just driving these things to where they need them because they don't have enough of them. They used to have too many of them. Now they don't have enough of them. And he's literally quadrupled his income just driving these containers where they need them because they need them so desperately. That's crazy.
It's crazy. And some of the ports have gotten backlogged where there's too many containers in one place and not enough in another, and they don't have enough land storage for them. So now like you said, they're going to ship them off site to go somewhere else. Well, what does this do? Drives up the cost of stuff, right? So, now everything is going up, and then exponential because of the increased traffic and the price of diesel going up. It just increases everything exponentially. So we're all in a mess.
And why I brought up that angle is there are people who are actually profiting like never before. So everyone does not have an incentive for things to go back the way they were. That's another reason why I'm concerned about it. People always think money is made only in good situations when it's actually quite the opposite.
It's a supply and demand thing too. I saw an interview yesterday, the day before, of the CEO of Flying J and Pilot. The big. I didn't realize this. They control 24% of the diesel market in the United States, and 30-something% of the DEF, the diesel exhaust fluid, because they own a large percentage of the large truck stops on the highways. And they are having an issue getting fuel. So their providers that they're getting fuel from are telling them they need to cut their purchasing because they can't supply them. So obviously it's supply and demand, right? So it sends the cost of the product up, which in this case diesel, and they want to get more fuel to provide for the truckers, and they're getting squeezed. So we're all going to be sitting in our trucks, not moving.
I hated going into this miserable direction, but it is a part of travel.
It is.
So
reality.
I'm trying not to always give rosy colored stories to people. Even though I'm trying to inspire people to get out and do things, I don't want to be remiss in not mentioning the challenges in front of you. I know people who are retired on fixed income, and they think they thought they had pretty much everything set for, and these changes are changing their life.
And you notice, like you said, in past times you didn't notice it specifically as much, but
it was an irritant.
It was an irritant. Now I used to fill this tank that I'm sitting in here. I'm inside my truck right now, $250. Cost me $500 now. That's double. And if you don't think you feel $250 difference every time you go to the gas station, you do.
Oh God, I can't imagine paying that. But I couldn't imagine paying $100. I spent $101.65 on this last trip on one of my fill-ups. I've never seen 3 digits before.
Being a Jeep owner, I know, because the tank, isn't that big.
Right.
So it's that's a lot of money to put in a Jeep for sure. Yeah, I know.
And I don't have the range that you got. So I'm back at the gas station in a few hours if I'm on the road.
Yeah. It adds up. That's the bottom line. It adds up. So.
Well, it's been another great podcast with you, Mike.
Absolutely.
I basically just had to make the decision that we're gonna end here because I know we'll end up talking too long.
That's right. We don't want to do that. We got lots of stuff to talk about on other episodes.
Right. And we'll get too comfortable and start breaking the rules and saying stuff we don't need to say.
Right.
Well, we'll talk some more offline. I want to talk to the audience real quick. And what I want to say is I hope everybody's enjoying the podcast. I hope you are enjoying the inclusion again of my friend Mike from Drive the Globe. Please follow him. Please like him. There's a lot to learn and know from him. So I'm looking forward to having him reoccurring. We haven't decided how often that'll be, but I'm looking forward to whenever he wants to come on the pod.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.